Have you heard about the man? Heard about the man? Have you heard about the man? Heard about the man? Have you heard about the man? Show me his face and cry about the man. Heard about the man? Have you heard about the man? Heard about the man? Have you heard about the man? Heard about the man? Have you heard about the man? Show me his face and cry about the man. Heard about the man?
Welcome back to The Smart Way and part 2 of the Ed Rome story. One of the most innovative artists that has ever been featured on The Smart Way. This artist is probably best known for his work within the ska community. There is so much more to this guy than what first meets the eye, or should I say ear. Singer, songwriter, recording artist, engineer, producer and multi-instrumentalist that isn't afraid to explore every single musical avenue his brain takes him to, and there are plenty. Ska, two-tone, punk, reggae, folk, blues, the list is almost endless. With over 20 years in the game, he has recorded and worked with some of the biggest names in the ska and reggae world, with an absolute arsenal of studio recordings under his belt. A very humble man, a very local fellow Essex man. I'm really pleased he has agreed to spare me some time from his quite frankly manic schedule, so please join me in getting to know the man that is Ed Rome.
Making history, but it's too risky. Let's keep the misery. There is no mystery. We can make you dance.
So, but look, so if I put to drag you back to 2013, then the first release you made then from Slam Door was Day Release. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah,
So that was Innocent Civilian Part 2.
yeah.
What is
That's my
the
love
thread
of
of
R&B.
Innocent Civilian? What is that? What is, you know? What's your take on it?
Well, it's definitely about losing your mind. It's semi-autobiographical. But I mean, Day Release is looking at, you know, what is sane and what isn't, and, you know, what's viewed as like that and so on. Play was more of a literal story. I mean, it's, for example, you know, the second disc of Whatever Makes You Happy,
Yeah,
that whole story was what would have happened if I'd have just given up university in first year and I couldn't quite get to grips with it. What would life have looked like? That was that thread. I mean, some of the Innocent Civilian ones, it's hard to explain because they're open to interpretation. But I mean, Play is pretty dark. It's about ultimately getting unwell enough to think about suicide and things like that.
well, that was
Following
what, yeah, that was the thread that I was going to come back to, but
Yeah, yeah. And humour. There's always a humour to it, which I know sounds ridiculous.
no, you have always got like a dark humour, if you like, you know, like a black comedy humour.
Yeah. Well, life's preposterous, isn't it? It's just
Exactly.
absolutely crazy. So play touches on a lot of things. Play, like how you're treated at work. People are treated at work. That's a big thing in play. And people struggling to find the point in life and not finding one, and then ending life. I mean, that is pretty much what play is.
Yeah,
Which isn't easy, but I think more people have had dark thoughts than they let on, to be honest.
yeah, definitely.
So the Innocent Civilian stuff is very much like that, but it's not melancholic in the pure sense.
Yeah,
It's not like going to listen to Nick Drake or something like that.
Yeah.
There's energy in it.
it definitely
And-
takes you on
you
a journey. But they do take you on a journey. You know, it's not just a, like you say, like a Nick Drake, where it's a one level thing that you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So the emotions are there.
With those albums, and nearly all my albums really, I designed them so I would want to listen to them on a journey, a long train journey or something like that. That's if I don't want to listen to them, there's something wrong, you know. Yeah. And that is vain, it's egotistical, whatever it is. But it's just my. If someone else wants to listen to them as well, that's a brilliant bonus, and that's fantastic. But I think they've got to be something you want to listen to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're definitely in a different genre, and it's funny you said that, like, about Jay, because I did listen to them in the car, you know, often on journeys, so I could switch, because it does take to listen. It's not like your other albums, like, you know, the big albums or whatever, or even a Life in Minutes, where you can put it on and you can just enjoy it as you go about things. They do warrant you to listen to them to get. So
it's difficult, isn't it? Because if people now listen to playlists,
yeah.
So I don't know where we are at the moment. I mean, I'm behind the curve. I'm very much behind because I like listening to albums still. I mean, I'm not alone, but I think I'm behind.
Refreshing though, you know, because I do like listening to albums as well, you know, and this is why I wanted to put these, when I cover these bands and artists, I like to put out there, because I think, you know, what the fuck, you know, you should be out there, people should know about this, because you know, it's something that you can have personal again, music, whereas music is so impersonal these days, you know, it's like you brushed across it, it's like someone saying, you know, wear that, sing that and fuck off, do you know, and they're not interested in anything that you've got to say.
Yeah.
You know, which is what I like these albums, you know, and I didn't find these albums till I started researching you again, and I thought, like, you know, these albums had gone missing, you know. Obviously I knew you from the big and the other big albums you dig, but you know, these ones I thought, fucking hell, this is a completely different side of you that I never, you know, I vaguely remember a few of them coming out. I mean, I do remember Tourist Trap. And,
oh God, that's heavy.
Yeah, and I thought that, and I thought, fucking hell, is that? You know, when I first heard that, I thought to myself, was that your life? Is that what you? Is that biographical? Because I know that it's even set in Essex, isn't it?
Yeah, it's well, my dad moved to Devon.
Yeah.
In about '88, and so it's semi autobiographical about, you know, when people move away to find a dream and find a nightmare, basically. But it's a standalone play, really, of getting out of Essex, getting to the West Country, starting something, doesn't work, you know, and so on. But a mate of mine, the keyboard player in the big, actually heard it, and he went, "You're not actually going to release that, though, are you?" And he went, "Well, I didn't really mean it like that." But he's a good litmus test. So I mean, I did release it, rightly or wrongly, but yeah, it's quite a funny comment. I thought, yeah, I'm going to release it.
I'm glad you released it. I'm glad you released it. I think that's a really good story. But I thought it was such a unique story, and so it makes more sense now you said it was an actual play. So because it was such a story, I just thought, like, fucking hell, is that something you've harked back on? Was that some sort of, you know, trauma you've had as a child or growing up, and you thought, well, let's put that into there?
Yeah, no, it's a bit of that, but then obviously I've written it slightly differently. It's about a guest house. I've got nothing on that in my life, but I like the idea of, you know, people always, like, grass is always greener. Let's move to the West Country and do this, or Spain or wherever, you know.
Yeah.
and it doesn't always work out that way, does it?
No, that's right. No, you're right. You're
You
right.
take things with you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you carried it round. I often thought the guest house might have been your head, might have been the different compartments.
Right. Well,
you're trying to put things in.
I suppose that as a job for me, I wouldn't be. I know I wouldn't be able to do that job.
Yeah.
So I picked that.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of escape. You know, everyone needs an escape.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to write about that really.
Don't kill the meaning of you. We are mad. Just let a feeling come through. It's so sad. Why don't you let someone in? You've been had. The old school men always think of your children like a thing about your children. What about your children like a thing about remember? Think of your children like a thing about your children. We're dying. We're dying. Don't kill the meaning of you. We are mad. Just let a feeling come through.
See, because when I found that, I found that through because suddenly you was on the radio again and on the internet, and that's when I heard Tolerance, from your Slam Door sessions.
In the sessions, yeah.
And I heard that, and when I was wondering, where Tolerance, Mother Cider, and Zealous Man and that came from, because, like I say, you just come out from Tourist Trap, and I thought, fucking, it's like almost schizophrenic.
Yeah, well, maybe that is the answer. Yeah, we had a really nice band at that point. So that was Chris Davison, also known as Troop, and he's an artist in his own right. He was playing bass for me, and it was Jim from the Big and Bella, who's obviously been across all of the album, Big and solo, and we were making a reasonable noise acoustically. We were doing tours for the Sundown, which was a multimedia arts thing, and a lot of poetry in there, and then we sort of played as well. So I thought, let's just capture it. We had a bit of energy at the time,
Yeah.
And obviously nearly all those songs on that little album have got real studio versions. But again, I was just trying to see what it was like when it, captured that bit of energy.
Yeah.
And not at a gig, because it's so hard to get good sound at a gig. I mean, there's never any microphones on the audience.
Yeah.
So you think, I've got a live recording, it'd be great. And it always sounds like you've fallen flat on your ass.
Yeah.
Because there's no microphones pointing to the audience. So I like the idea of a live session. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I've recently done one with the Kondraks called Departure, and they filmed it all quite well with multi-camera angles. And it's quite stressful. And it gives you respect when you think about the way recordings were done for many, many years.
Yeah.
Which is a literal record of what you are.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's been good to do them recently, but bloody hell, got to do your homework.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's got to be bang on, and all the performance has got to be spot on, hasn't it? And like you say, I mean, I'll take it you're using GoPros to, etc.
It was a mixture of, there was a GoPro 360, but there was SLRs as well. Right. The Kondraks are quite good with filming stuff, because one of them's a professional photographer. So I'll send you a link to that as well. But they're all on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched quite a lot of them on YouTube, and I was thinking,
right,
that must be if it's at your garden. I know you said what is it, the size of like a double garage or studio, or
yeah.
So I mean, if you've got a live room, it must be pretty cramped once everything's in there to.
Yeah, it's not a big. It's as big as we could make it without it being illegal. So it's the biggest legal version. we could do. But there's ways around it.
Yeah.
If you're clever about it, it's all right. Yeah, but yeah, there's no room to spare per se. Yeah.
Do you like that closeness of it though? That, like, you know, you wouldn't like to expand to a bigger place. Are you quite happy?
I don't think I'll be able to afford it. Go to a bigger place because it's very hard to charge enough to make it work, even if it's on your place. If I had a monthly rental on it as well as, you know, part of the mortgage, if you like.
Yeah.
It's so hard to charge enough because it's really weird. Even musicians often don't see what I do as a legitimate job.
That's crazy, yeah.
So a lot of them do, don't get me wrong, but it's bizarre. They sort of don't see it as legitimate. You think they'd be the first people to see it that way, but I think a lot of people begrudge paying for it in a way. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, strange one, yeah. But do you find it easy to switch off? Because it's at the end of your garden. Do you find it easy to, like, you know, leave the studio, lock it up, go in, and then switch, you know, to a normal life? Or
yeah, I'm lucky in the fact that it's detached.
Yeah.
So there is a door to close.
Yeah. Because I did know someone that made his whole house into a recording studio, but he was like half off his rocker in the end. I think it sent him a bit funny. It did. It did, like, really. He started having people living there with him, and that to become like a bit of a commune. You know, and it was started off really great, and then ended up a bit seedy and a bit nasty in the end, and it felt a bit.
I'm a bit unorthodox in that I'm orthodox. I'm like, I start at 8 or 8:30, but I want to finish at 5. I don't want to go till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like studios, I remember it was like all night, and in the morning you'd listen back and it was all shit because you were all out of your heads.
Yeah.
I just want to be bang on it, you know.
Yeah.
Do it well, but then it's done.
Yeah.
It's done by 6 o'clock and we're done. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's better enough if people come in and they're ready to record rather than if they're fucking hanging around the studio trying to put something together actually in the studio. I know, like, everyone thinks they're Pink Floyd when they start recording, but it's like, you know, to be in the studio, it ain't really that conducive half the time. Like you say, you just get more and more smashed, and then what you think's good actually shit.
Absolutely. I've for their own good, I've turned people away and said, look, just there's no point you paying to be here whilst these ideas are in their infancy. Just go and have some time, you know.
Yeah.
Because they'll just waste money, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I'll take your point, definitely. Yeah.
Are we all enlightened? Or are we all just frightened by the conventional wisdom? conventional system. Zealous man.
So if we come after the Sam Dawes was like, I see it as, even though it was an album in its own right, like a mini album, it was like a bit of a corny catchphrase, but a snapshot into the album snapshot, because that's what it seemed to lead on to. But I mean, you released Gas and Air, Innocent Civilian 4 as well between then.
Yeah. So Gas and Air was a nice way for me to. So Tourist Trap was the first album I recorded in here.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, let's really hone your craft. Record something simple, which is just vocal and guitar.
Yeah.
Turns out that's one of the hardest things to get right because it's so bare.
Yeah.
So I was actually quite hard on myself by doing that. I mean, I use ribbon mics, and they've got a bit of noise. Their noise floor isn't very good. You get away with it with most things, but when it's just guitar and vocals, you don't. So all of a sudden, I ended up with a massive problem with noise. Looking back, it wasn't actually that much of a problem, and the bit of noise is all right. It's okay. Yeah. But then I was like, oh my God, it's got to be perfect. So Tourist Trap was a nightmare to record because of how bare it was.
Yeah.
And after that, Gas and Air was the first thing I've recorded with multiple instruments just to check everything. I mean, I've recorded stuff before this, loads, but being the prime engineer, just, you know, where does the mic go on a bass cab? I mean, it's not an interesting question, but you've just got to know the answer and get it wrong. But Gas and Air, again, is not a commercial thing. It's a long journey. It's about a war. It's post-apocalyptic, and it was really good fun to make. Yeah. But again, it passes people by. They're like, "Oh, that's nice."
It was it's gone. It was a bit of a truism for what was to come with lockdown, etc., wasn't it? In a way.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it was. But
it's like a bit of foresight on your part, if you know, and there is elements of that in it. It's like
absolute luck, no judgment.
Right, okay. So...
So we leave at cozy speed, lanterns fly past, and most people I know are asleep. And if they're not, I wanna know why. I'll see you coming up forever. I'll see you coming up forever. I'll see you, I'll see you, I'll see you coming up forever. I'll see you, I'll see you, I'll see you coming up forever.
Right, so then, so you recorded Snapshot after that, or was it again with so this was Gas and Air was written as a definite standalone thing to do. It wasn't couldn't be used on Mother Side Snapshot, like, you know, because I know Mother Side made it there from the Detections. So
yeah, no, it's I mean, Gas and Air hasn't got any songs per se on it.
Yeah.
It's got pieces on it.
Yeah.
So Snapshot, I mean, I love a 3-minute good song. Absolutely love it. I'm not, you know, all over that, but I also love a ridiculous long drawn out. I love it all, really.
Yeah.
But Snapshot was about, right, let's make proper reggae and ska album.
Yeah.
to genuinely follow up a Life in Minutes.
Yeah.
Life in Minutes didn't have many songs on it. There were a lot of just dub pieces and so on. Whereas Snapshot was about, right, let's just get the songwriting bang on.
Yeah.
And do a full album.
Yeah.
Just see what happens.
Some people want it, baby. Some people need it. Some people want it, baby. Some people need it. I got no soul, you know it. You got no soul, so show it. Some people breathe it, baby. I just don't need it, lady. Would you believe? Would you believe? You held the night from those who deceive. I got no, I got no, I got no, I got no. I got no, I got no, I got no, I got no. I got no, I got no, I got no, I got no. I got no, I got no, I got no, I got no. Some people want it, baby. Some people need it. Some people want it, sugar. Some people want it. I want it. I want it, want it, want it, want it. Some people I got no, I got no, I got no, I got no, I got no. I got no soul.
Did you have the original idea of having special guests at the start, or did that come later for the dub edition?
It came later on when I realised that there were a lot more interpretations of those beds that I'd made in Snapshot.
Yeah.
And I've made some good friends in the industry, and I just thought, oh, let's just get them in here and just see if we can capture them in a way
Was it
that
worrying
they haven't
to
really been captured. Yeah, it was worrying. Yeah,
was it like to approach it? Did you? But like,
yeah. So Neville, who I've worked with for years and years and years, playing bass and keyboards and guitar as well, now and again. Neville Stake with the Specials. He did his one remotely, but everyone else came in.
yeah,
I think he was touring, so he couldn't come in. But all the others came in. It was a good experience. Recording like first wave Jamaican artists like Freddie Notes and Dennis Alcone
yeah,
was really, really interesting. They want to do it their way,
yeah,
and obviously you want them to do it their way, and you let them do it their way because that's how you learn.
yeah,
And they were extremely creative in that the energy in the room had to be right.
yeah,
It wasn't just business. It was just like, no. I mean, Freddie was chatting away to me for hours before we even went in, and I'm sort of, should we?
Yeah.
But for him, it's part of the day, and that is adding, like what I know now is that is part of what happened.
Yeah.
Part of what was captured on the mic. You don't just push someone in there and go like, "Come on."
Yeah.
It's a rhythm. It's a building up to it. So everyone does it their way.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
But you seem to enjoy doing that thing from, like, obviously what started on Whatever Makes You Happy, to take a song and take it in a different direction. It seems that must be something that's quite personal to you. You must think, well, what else can I do with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a waste not to reinterpret it, really. It's not about recycling or
No.
getting the most out of what you've got. It's like I say, it restricts you.
Yeah.
We all need a restriction. If you look at the most discordant, ridiculous jazz, invariably, you're still doing loads of vibe work and there's an upright bass and a piano. So that's their restriction. It's the instrumentation.
Yeah.
It's still the same. Whether it's, they're still restricted in some way.
Yeah.
And I think if you know you've got a BPM or a key signature that you can't get out of, I think sometimes you can be more creative.
Yeah.
By reinterpreting stuff, and special stuff can happen, I think.
It's adventurous, though, for a listener. Like, I know I can't speak for everyone, but as a listener and somebody, who plays music and likes music, it's adventurous and brave what you do, because because it's quite hard to put something out anyway, I think, into an audience, and to get a reaction, because it's not always 9 out of 10 times it's not the reaction that you want or you expect. Same as interpretations, and are very rarely what you thought when you wrote the song. It takes on a different meaning to each different fan almost. They pick things that strike a chord with them. So to reimagine something is, I think, very adventurous, very brave.
It was difficult because I know that some people thought it was a rehash and it was a way of getting another album for free.
Ooh, yeah.
I totaled up the hours, and I spent more hours on dubs and subs than I did on Snapshot.
Yeah. It's funny you said it. I wouldn't have said that people would have thought it was rehashing, because you've done that really throughout your career. Not
many people.
Yeah.
No, not many people, but it was just interesting, people's view on it.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It wouldn't change anything, But glad I've done it, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah,
working with those people is unforgettable, really.
Yeah, and it's added loads. I mean, it's exciting to hear those people with you as well. As a fan of ska and reggae, and it's just I think I'm quite surprised that you've received any sort of backlash as to a rehash. I think it's a bit of a fucking liberty, to be honest. You think like so. But,
people misinterpret it, and it's fine.
You're nasty and you like the feel of it. Be a partner, please. Sometimes I wonder where I'd rather be, Take me anywhere, please. Well, I'd rather watch you take doing a time, Take me there with ease. Take it from a peak, doing cross country, Take me there with ease. You've invaded my brain to try and make me the same as you. Just lower your comfort from a next to an unapplicable. Once a cider, please. Are you a partner? You make me run, run, run from the world you find me in. It's the sum of the cost you won't begin. It's a long, long way from where you are heading. 'Cause your attitude makes me want to kill myself. Be a partner, be a partner. Are you a partner? Are you a partner?
So when you finish an album like Snapshot, you know, and the thing is, what made you suddenly think, oh no, I'll get the big backing?
I think you've hit it on the head. Is that I do like variation,
Yeah,
and maybe I'd sort of prove a point of what you can do on your own or whatever, and then well, it wasn't on my own anyway. I mean, Jim was on the drums and Bella was on the sax.
yeah,
So, you know, we always need people. But for that was about time had elapsed. Enough time had elapsed that we were going to enjoy it again.
right,
And it wasn't going to become a drag.
yeah,
Or, you know, working with people is so hard, isn't it?
yeah,
In anything. Working in any team is so difficult. But I could tell there was an appetite for enjoying doing something again. So I was like, well, let's do it,
yeah,
because that's the best time to do it. And we had a good 2 days in here.
yeah,
A nightmare to mix it because there was so much bleed coming out of the drum kit. But I was determined to do no overdubs. Poor old Johnny hadn't touched the keyboard for a while, so he was sort of starting again a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a bass player. He's a good bass player.
right, yeah,
But he sort of jumped on the keys. He wanted to come and tour with us and all that, and we were all a good friendship group. So he put a lot of work in. Dave Bass still had it in his fingers, so that was all fine. And Bella had been playing, and Jim's always playing, brilliant. So, but it was a good thing to just. I think we were trying to prove to ourselves we could all still do it,
yeah,
which is ridiculous.
Welcome to your chain pub. type of music to show off with, making sure that they all think you look the biz. Necessary extras to be taken on the floor. This is so poor, and can you ignore? Because 2 for 1 loses its fun when you realise where you are. But going home is justifying it. Chain pub, lane pub, shame pub, chain pub. What's trapped me here? Inevitably beer. Dirtbag blues, no hippies attend. Life and culture, it is the end. For some reason it eats my soul, not human colours. Where's my rock and roll? Here it comes. To buy a boozer, that I would love. 'Cause I'd let it rot till it resembled the pub. Not a fucking chain pub, lane pub, shame pub, chain pub. Build me a boozer.
The Listen album was remastered before that, wasn't it?
Yes.
So
it was.
What made you bring that up again? Because when I looked into that, I thought, well, it must have been around the same time. You probably done the album, redone the album, then thought, fuck it, let's get back together. But that obviously ain't the case then, because there's a couple of years in between, isn't there?
It was a job I've been wanting to get round to because I never was happy with that recording.
Right.
In fact, that was a big reason behind me thinking I've got to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
Because that ain't right. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
So that album has made me really, in the end, do what I'm doing now.
Here we go. There's poor seven bastards in that train crash. Aren't you sick of it? Just say when the money will die. What did you say when you could drive? Thought see you in a lot of tonight. You run. Try must have been too hard. Both here must have both been scarred. Think I'd rather be here than be wrong. At me, buy me a new jumper. Wear it all through summer. Buy me a rag on me. And you teach me how to read. Go! You're gonna find me. You're gonna kill me. Where are ya? You should try harder. Hey! Son, you're free for lust, cause never read not that you were just fine now. Aren't you sick of it? Sorry, I'm trying to make it come. On the other hand, I don't want the sun. Ripping up the back door, thinking of a mark. Why not? Kicking up a bus, kicking up a barrel. Probably wrong, let's find that out. If you're gonna ask inside the house, push one, buy me a new jumper. Wear it all through summer. Buy me a rag on me. And you teach me how to read. Go! You're gonna find me. You're gonna kill me. Where are ya? You should try harder. Run to me away from the popular just cause you can just die now. Aren't you sick of it? People think it's do you care? To be quite fair, I'm having a mare. All I really want is a great big pair of tits. You true, what do you say? I'm not sure it's a great big game. Me, I'm putting a fight so tight. me how to breathe. Here we go! You're gonna find me. You're gonna kill me. But where are ya? You're gonna find me. You're gonna kill me. Where are ya? You should try harder.
When you was mixing the album, did the original members come in, or did you take that as a sole project?
Do you mean these sessions? Sorry, the live sessions.
The Listen album, when you remastered the Listen album.
So Dave took a big role in that.
Yeah.
He's a good audio engineer. Yeah, he was, me and him were sort of leading that really. And Jim's got really good ears, mixing ears. So he came in a couple of days, but actually Jim's really useful and really good at when you send him stuff, you will get an essay back with what's wrong with it, in his opinion.
Yeah.
So, and obviously Bella had to be in there recording all the sax.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely a group effort with that, which was really nice.
Yeah, good. I just wondered why it took 2 years to come to you to think, oh no, we'll do a session in the studio. Was you not itching?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. It was just like, well, we can.
Yeah.
You know, fancy it? Yeah, let's do it. I don't know. There might not have been a reason. It might have just been, let's go and do that.
Yeah. Because again, after that, there seemed to be another, was it 2 or 3 years before your EP, Feel No Pain, came out?
So, yeah, it's because it was hard. So Dubs and Subs was well received, but it was so much work. It was so difficult to make. I think the idea of embarking on something is not to be a new release was not to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
And I found it intimidating, the amount of work. I don't think people understand the amount of work. I know someone like yourself would, because you make music. And then talking about that trend, we were saying, you know, maybe the album is definitely under threat, if not in the dying throes. And I just thought, well, make an EP.
Yeah.
So that's why I made Feel No Pain, and then 4 Blue Beats was for lockdown. There is no extra depth to 4 Blue Beats apart from it's just fun and it sounds like I wanted it to sound, and it's just light-hearted, just for people who are locked down. That's all that 4 Blue Beats was.
Four New Beats, Feel No Pain, you released through Kingston Express, didn't you?
Yeah, so he was an ex-pupil of mine, Joe Simpson.
Ah, right.
And he makes excellent roots reggae.
Yeah.
And he works with so many artists, singers, and Sing Jays, whatever you call them. He's prolific.
Yeah.
He does really well, Kingston Express. Yeah, so he released that, and that was good. It got me to a different audience, which is what it should do.
Yeah.
So that was a nice thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
A meeting of minds.
Failure is all we fear, and there's nothing wrong with the tolls we hear. My mind's blank, but for rotten planks, but there's nothing wrong with the tolls we hear. Tolls we hear. Holidays, retirement and fun. Polaroids of you and your old mum. Now she's gone, take it all away. Failure is all we fear, and there's nothing wrong with tolls we hear. There's nothing here, and all we fear is the failure of tolls we hear. Tolls we hear. Holidays where no one wants to go. Freedom's fought for are rarely on show. So let's go before they take it all away. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
For Blue Beats, like you say, okay, was done during lockdown, which is what I thought of when you went on to Common Ancestry, where it was such, what could you say, like world music, it was such like a big demographic
Yeah.
you suddenly went into. Was that really a
Yeah.
release of lockdown, do you think you put?
It was started before, so it would be disingenuous to say that, because I mean that it took so long to make. That's a running theme here.
Yeah.
Trying to mix 40 plus instruments is really difficult. There's so much percussion. It's all live. I didn't do any virtual instruments on it.
It was like
So-
a mammoth production, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was a bit ridiculous, really. But I'm glad I've done it. But looking back, I'm like, Jesus, it was so hard.
But is it
So
music
to do,
you're
I-
listening to at the time? Is that what gives you the idea to record? So you're listening to all that sort of music in it?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But I mean, also, it is a bit of that. But I've got a lot of things I still want to do. This New Wave album, I'm going to send you in a minute.
Yeah, it's
That's a
interesting.
proper. That's a proper itch
Yeah.
that I've wanted to scratch for ages. And I've had songs there ready, and then some of them are brand new as well. But I'm hoping to release that in the autumn,
Yeah.
and that the audio is done. But I'll send that to you. Interested to see what you think. But with Common Ancestry, big undertaking. It was lovely to have John Reed on the trumpet on it. He's a great player, and he was actually the trumpeter when the Specials reformed in '09 without Jerry Dammers.
Yeah.
He played in that incarnation of the Specials, and I met him at a festival in Dorset, the big one, which is a charity do that Paul Willow puts on, and he's been on my stuff really ever since then.
Yeah.
And he's a great player on the trumpet, and vital, really,
Yeah.
a vital asset.
Yeah.
And he was on Unsubscribed, the recent one, along with Dave Walton, who's brilliant trombonist as well, Bad Manners trombonist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to find these people. But the Common Ancestry, it was it's hard to make. It was also hard for people to understand what it was, I think, because really, my voice really doesn't fit with that, and what people stereotypically think,
Yeah.
which for me is great. I love it. Purest nightmare, and so it should be.
But this is what's interesting about your music. You often go off at that angle, you know, and your voice definitely does do that. You know, it starts on somewhere and then that voice crashes in, and it's like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
Which is what I enjoy. I think your fans do enjoy that.
I think so, but that was another reason to do dubs and subs. Going back a bit, was because I wanted to hear my music without that crash.
Yeah.
You know, with someone like that, those sort of soft tones that Fred Notes has got. I wanted to hear that on my music.
Yeah. No, which is fair enough.
Have a break.
Yeah.
I'll tolerate your intolerance if you tolerate mine. I'll ignore your ignorance if you ignore mine. And I'll abhor your abhorrence if you abhor mine. And I'll enjoy your endurance if you endure mine. I'll enjoy your endurance. I'll abhor your abhorrence. Two sides are rewriting history to suit their own needs, with the tallest of stories. They failed to sort out the world, and I'll tolerate your intolerance if you tolerate mine. I'll ignore your ignorance if you ignore mine. I'll enjoy your endurance. I'll abhor your abhorrence. Two sides are ignoring reality all around. They found their best leaders and the best they could muster at all was, I'll tolerate your intolerance if you tolerate mine. I'll ignore your ignorance if you ignore mine.
Do you find yourself writing continuously, or do you get into a mindset to write?
No, it's always there.
Yeah.
It's always happening. There will be times. I'm a big believer in, if there is a little time when it's not happening, that is to be embraced and not worried about,
Yeah.
because that is part of how it's going to happen again.
Yeah. But on the flip side of that, are you also worried that, say, you're immersed in a project of somebody else's that you're recording and producing maybe, and then you're getting this coming, and then you're thinking, fuck, I don't want to miss this? Because there's nothing more annoying, I know, than when you get a thought in your head and you don't jot it down or you don't do something, and then it goes. And you think, fuck,
Absolutely. I've got these. I use these funny little books,
Yeah.
and because I don't use notation, I just
Yeah.
write a chart and just get the riff down, and yeah. So if I can't actually record it,
Yeah.
I just make sure I don't lose anything like that. Yeah.
And it's like, and does it stay all right? I mean, because I quickly whack on, you know, the audio recorder on the iPhone or anything, and then I'll grab an acoustic and do a riff or, you know, a chord or whatever, and then I'll come back to it and then it's still there. But sometimes I notice also I'll come back to it and the feeling's gone. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key is to on those little voice notes is to give yourself as much context as you can, even if it's like words or the time of day or what you were thinking or what you're feeling, and always count them in and hum any part over the top you can, and just add as much to it as possible rather than just the thing, because that thing doesn't always exist in isolation anyway, does it?
No, exactly.
But I know what you mean. Sometimes it's just like, well, what did I mean there?
Yeah.
What did that? I think, I totally understand what you mean. Yeah.
It can be a bug, you know. You just think, fucking hell, I had something there or something that was clicking with you, and then it's not there no more. But also, I think I don't do big productions, obviously, and I don't do other people's. You know, I can just get on with life, and then when something strikes me, I can quickly nip up and then do it. But if you're immersed in a project, because you often find as well, I don't know whether you're the same. I'm sure it's the same with everyone, that once you're musically into something, this is when your ideas really, this is when your body really starts putting out, thinking, I want this, or this is coming. It can almost draw a picture for you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a vicious spiral. yeah.
So
upwards, yeah.
It's difficult for you. So then after Common Ancestry, so you unsubscribe, you done, which was your next step. Which again comes back to not not basics, but it brings you back again from Common Ancestry when you went right out there. You seem to have sucked yourself right back in again and thought, hang on a minute, let's start here again.
Well, it's been so long since I've written any what I'd say is two-tone originals. I was enjoying the idea of it again. I was feeling it again.
But were they songs that you'd written a little while ago, or did you sit down and think, right, fuck it, I'm going to write again like that?
They're a mixture.
Right.
So, for example, track 2, we were gigging a version of that right at the end of the Biggs playing career.
Yeah. But
with a completely different chorus. So when they heard it, they were like, "What? That's not what we." But no, all the others are like new.
Yeah.
I think that's right, isn't it? Yeah, they're all new. Yeah, I'm just enjoying writing that again,
Yeah.
So I think you've got to seize the moment if you're into it. Yeah, you've got to do it there and then.
But this is why I was shocked, without putting pressure on you. This is why I was shocked again that you wasn't even going to tour like a stripped down version of it, because it was such it's such not mainstream, but it's such a feel good album as well. The songs really real feel like it's brought, and at the time when I think people really need it, they need that feel good.
Yeah. Well, I guess the answer is I am torn.
Yeah.
About it, but I just want it to be good or not.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. I think it's good that you released a couple of videos with it. That's good. And
that's a big step for me. I promised myself I'd never stand in front of a mic when it's not actually the audio.
Really?
I've never done that before, and I felt. I mean, I'm so behind. Everyone's done it.
Yeah.
I'm so. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. But so I did it for 2 songs, and Bella did it as well. And the response was massive.
Yeah.
It made me realise that if you just keep throwing audio at people without any visual context, it's difficult for them, but only because they're being completely flooded with visuals all the time.
Yeah.
The audio on its own maybe just isn't enough.
Yeah.
So it's not even like anyone's fault.
Yeah.
It's just in comparison to everything else they're getting, every bit of audio that comes at them has got visual and yours hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just stay in front of a mic, suck it up and get on with it and do it.
Yeah.
You haven't killed anyone.
Yeah.
But it was a big step for me. I was like, I ain't standing there like a Wally doing that. I'm never doing that. I'm never doing that. I've done that.
But is there more to come from the album, visual wise, or?
No, it was hard enough just getting me to do them too. So
I was hoping they were taken from a session.
No, they weren't. don't know what to do about visuals going forward. I mean, I've got the New Wave album ready for November, say.
Yeah.
I'm recording this reggae and trad ska album, which will be out in April, May, I'd say.
Yeah.
But the visuals that they need, I find very frightening, because I don't feel creative in that realm.
Yeah.
And I haven't got good quality control. I don't know what's shit or not.
Yeah.
With music, I feel like I do. Visuals, I'm just not interested. But it's becoming like this necessary part of it.
Yeah.
So I've got to do something.
Yeah.
But it fills me with dread.
All the tracks that have been used in this episode are listed in the description and are available from Ed Roan's Bandcamp. Just Google that exact phrase, Ed Roan Bandcamp. And also, for more information, check out www.edroan.co.uk, where you will find a wealth of his music just waiting there for you. If you are watching or listening to this on YouTube, please do take the time to like and subscribe, as that really helps me out. Again, massive thanks to Ed Roan for his time, and please check out the Smart Way channel for more fantastic independent music and biographies, totally free of charge. I'm Daniel Smart, and you've been entertained the Smart Way.